Speaking of guys who are on their way up, Sergey Shelestov.
And Shelestov is a monster. This is a guy you truly have to be standing next to appreciate his size and his mass. You can see, I don't know if he switched colors or is using something different or not at all, but you can see he's very, very white. This is not going to help him out. A lot of the Europeans do tend to use Dream Tan and some of the other pastier type of colors, Dan, which I've never been a big fan of. And actually, if that was his two choices, I'd much rather see him lighter, where you can see the lines. But I think those pastier colors tend to cover up lines, cuts, and conditioning. But you can see that this guy's got a tremendous build. His legs, his tie-in areas. I'm not quite sure the judges at this point really know what to do with him. And again, he's going to have to get out there a little bit. He doesn't have a whole lot of weak points. You can see he's not the widest guy out there. He's good, but for his size, he would need to be a little bit wider, a little bit more conditioned. See what I'm talking about with the coloring, Dan? He actually looks a little less conditioned than he is, purely because he's too light.
It's one of those things that I'll never understand. These guys, they show up, they're in shape, although I think Shelestov could be better. I do think he's through the lower back. It looked like he was holding a little water, and I wouldn't say he's at 100%. But the whole coloring issue, I don't understand it. It would seem like there would be a formula. These guys have been competing for years and years and years. These guys have all done 30, 40 shows in the course of their lives, dating back to their amateur days. And it stuns me every time when a guy walks on stage 10 shades lighter than everybody else. I'll never understand it.
Well, I can give you one clue, Dan, and it's just something I picked out over the years. Give a little tip out there for the bodybuilders out there who are listening to this broadcast, watching the webcast at bodybuilding.com.
From the USA,
don't spray
David
your color on.
Henry.
I don't know how many.
Unchain my heart, baby. Let me be.
Okay, Dan from Russia with love. Big Sergey Shelestov taking the stage. The big Russian. I talk about close to 300 pounds. This guy's tipping the scales right up there. A very big man. Again, he needs a little bit of polish. Personally, I thought he got overlooked at the Ironman this year. I think he could have placed a little bit higher there. Sacramento, he wasn't as good as shape. He smoothed out a little bit. And this morning, he was definitely flattening out as he was going. But, you know, same thing, Dan. Now, as we're looking, he's about 5 shades darker than he was this morning, which has really highlighted his physique. Look how much better his physique looks now, darker with the oil on under the lights than it did this morning.
I'm glad you pointed that out, because it was unavoidable to notice that when he walked out for the finals. It was obviously somebody tapped him on the shoulder and said, you got to do something about that color. And Bob, you can't emphasize enough how critical it is under these lights on a stage like the one they have here in Columbus. If your color is off, it really basically compromises everything else you've done to lead up to that point.
No question, Dan. You said it this morning. Why would you put all this money, time, effort, 14 weeks of diet and hell to get on that stage only to leave out the most basic fundamentals that you need as a bodybuilder, and that is to be dark on stage?
It's impossible to talk about Shelestov without talking about Alexander Fedorov, of course, the other Russian bodybuilder who came over with all sorts of promise and expectations, none of which he lived up to. What can we expect here?
Well, you know, I think Shelestov has a better shot. He looks like he's injury-free. Certainly nothing that I picked up on. Wow, look at the, you talk about injury-free. Not only that, but flexible as well. How about the 300-pounder doing a splits, Dan? But I think he's going to fare better than Fedorov has. Again, he's got a very good base. He's a very big man, and he's put together pretty good for a big man aesthetically-wise. So I think you're going to see better things from Shelestov in the future.